So we are out here on the site of the brutal, bloodthirsty murder of Renee Nicole Good, someone's name who we should all remember. And let me tell you, it is very encouraging to see how this community has absolutely stepped up on either side of this block. 33rd Street, 34th Street is blocked off with debris, with barrels, with just blockage, and with signs that say ICE stay out, forbidding federal authorities from entering this space, which will remain sacred, I'm sure, for quite a while. It is, in the face of tragedy like this, it is amazing to see a community come together. A lot of these people probably don't even know each other, and they are gathering together, wrapping their arms around each other to support one another in this tragedy that was absolutely avoidable and unnecessary, if not for fascism and the power-hungry white supremacists within the Donald Trump administration, things we talk about every single day. This could have been predicted, and in fact, it was predicted. When you send thousands of agents into a community of this size, Minneapolis is not a giant city, it's not New York City, this isn't Chicago, this isn't Los Angeles, this is Minneapolis. And when Donald Trump sends his masked secret police in to murder civilians, to kidnap community members, what does anybody expect? We're going to be talking to some people, getting some reactions. Stay tuned. Standing out here in front of the memorial to Renee Nicole Good, again, a name we need to all remember. Standing here with Mandy, local to the area, and I guess just to throw a general at you, like what's your general reaction to all of this happening right now and the reaction to it? How are you feeling?
Yesterday as things were unfolding, it was disbelief, but also I feel like we've been screaming this was going to happen for months, if not years, as things have unfolded, and I think there was a lot of rage. And being down here today especially, moved to tears a few different times.
Sure.
Like, this never had to happen, but here we are. Who will be next? Because if there's no accountability, if nothing happens, as we have seen over and over with this administration, there's that fear as it could be anybody. This was a U.S. citizen. This was a white woman, who was trying to leave. And so there's a lot of sadness, but also rage that this can't keep happening, and something's got to change.
Yeah, I've been reflecting on this as this is just another victim of Nazi violence.
Yeah.
Just like Heather Heyer, just like the 30 plus people who have died in ICE custody and internment camps and concentration camps in foreign countries. And I was just talking to someone else about it, and I think it's starting to catch on, and people who maybe have been resistant to the idea of abolishing ICE are now coming around. Right. Is that also your experience?
I think so. I think that this all started with they want to get rid of criminals, the worst of the worst, and that's who, I live in a very red area, and that's all you'd hear them all talk about. These criminals can't be here.
They elected the worst of the worst.
And I was like, you elected a literal felon. You know, I mean, he was found liable for sexual abuse. This is a horrible person. Nobody's illegal when you're president as a criminal, at this point. But also, we're seeing that this was never about getting rid of mass murderers. This was about control, and really they're slowly going after groups. The Somali community here is just being harassed and harmed so much by this administration. And I said, well, we had the trans community, but they needed a new group to go after. And I'm like, there's the saying from I'm not going to remember, but when will it come for us, right? Eventually it will come for all.
Fascism always needs an enemy.
And so
when they vanquish one, they'll find another.
Yeah. And so we're seeing that happen. But as that happens, and as yesterday occurred, you are seeing cracks. You are seeing that people are starting to go, oh, well, that's too far. Or, oh, I saw the footage. Don't let people gaslight you about that fucking footage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hope I can curse, because I'm not Pollyanna.
Yeah, you can.
Literally what I do. But yeah, like we saw the fucking footage, and yet they're out here trying to tell us we didn't see what we saw. Like, I lost my shit yesterday when I heard Kristi Noem be like, they were stuck in the snow. I'm like, oh no. And the bad weather, I'm like, for Minnesota weather, it was beautiful yesterday. I was like, this woman's crazy.
Yeah.
She thinks we just
In her giant 80-gallon cowboy hat in Brownsville, Texas,
right.
having no clue what
She had
happened.
been here for like, I think a day prior to this. Like, she had been in town to do some propaganda shooting, and like
They did a lot of Instagram shoots. That's right.
Then they left, and then this happens, and she tried to talk about the weather. I'm like, bitch, go away.
Well, let
not.
me finish with this kind of a general. I like to ask people this: if I was not standing here and it was Donald Trump, what message would you have for our Nazi white supremacist president?
I don't know if I should.
You don't have to keep it PG.
Could you just die already? Like, could you go away?
Yeah.
Like, I'm done. Like, just stop.
Well, let me have a follow-up, because I ask this of my audience all the time. What are you going to do when you wake up and there's a news alert that Donald Trump died in his sleep? Because, you can't live too long with Big Mac sauce coursing through your veins.
Right.
What are you going to do?
And while I know a lot of people want it to happen a different way, I'm cool if it happens that way. Because, like, honestly, then there's just less people to target.
Dead's dead.
Right. There will be celebration. And I foresee celebration that will be televised. Don't get me wrong, I think J.D. Vance is also super dangerous, if not more, with his ties with the Heritage Foundation. So, like, don't get me wrong, there will be trepidation in that, but there will also be celebration.
We're analyzing things I talk about all the time now, but it's good because it means it's on the minds of other people.
Yeah.
I think that J.D. Vance is not as dangerous because he doesn't have the hypnotic thing.
That's true.
Anything he says
keep that
doesn't just
MAGA.
get swallowed whole by
I also
the
think
MAGA
he'd be
mob.
easier to bully out. Like, I just think I don't think he's as like because
Weak sauce.
Trump is such a narcissist. He just like the bullying gets to him, but he continues to pivot. Whereas I'm fairly certain we could bully J.D. Vance to a point that would be successful.
You heard it here first, folks.
Not that I would ever condone bullying. Yes, I would. Bully Nazis. Period. Like, full stop. Like,
Yeah, no rest.
Yeah.
No sleep.
Like, I think I have my. Oh, I do. Yeah. Punch Nazis.
Punch Nazis. Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was so nice to meet you.
Hang in there. We appreciate your work. It is important, especially, obviously, in times like this.
And justice for Renee Good.
Yeah.
So, and you guys have a safe trip here. So, thank you for coming.
We're happy to be here. So, being from Washington, D.C., not being native to this community, I wanted to talk to some people who are from here, who are absolutely directly impacted by this. Obviously, as Americans who are actual patriots, not fake patriots, we care about what's happening in this country right now, and we are fighting being demoralized about it. Jordan, I'm with Jordan now. What's going through your head right now?
It's been a lot. This has been a building of attacks on our state and our community, our leadership here. Obviously, with all the attacks on the Somali community, and then the attacks on our governor, and just the attacks on us as a state have been hard. And then to have it just capped off with this after, we knew that this was going to happen at some point with this mass rollout of ICE across the country. It was going to happen somewhere at some time, and it's really depressing that it has happened here again, and obviously we dealt with something similar with George Floyd just a few years ago, and now we're going through this again. But in a way, I'm happy that it happened here because I know that Minnesotans have the resolve to come out and fight this, and they made a mistake making this mistake here because we do not stop once a member of our community is attacked, and this is the beginning of the end for them in my mind.
Yeah, it seems like it's an inflection point generally just across the country. I don't know what your experience has been or how much connection you have with conservative or conservative-coded people, but it seems as though there's a lot of people that are waking up to this, that they see the tape and they hear the lies from Donald Trump and they hear Kristi Noem spew her filth and disinformation and propaganda, and they realize, that's not what I saw. Are you witnessing that as well?
I am. I mean, I think this is our Orwellian moment, right? When they tell you to stop believing what your eyes tell you and what your ears, what you hear. And being online, obviously you never know how many of it's bots, how many of it is paid antagonists who are still trying to like push this propaganda. But out in public, you're not seeing it as much. We've definitely seen a lot of the Trump flags come down. We've seen a lot fewer Trump hats, especially I live out in rural Minnesota, where it felt like a Trump rally everywhere you went, and that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that. So I think they're being...
When do you think that's... directly after the shooting or
no.
prior to that?
It's been going for a while for sure, and I think that is why this shooting is going to be so impactful, because had this happened right away when there was still all that upswell of support after the election, they may have had a lot more people coming out to stand behind these authoritarian invaders. But at this point, I think they've been beaten and embarrassed to just not have that kind of support for them. And obviously there's huge outpourings of support here, and nobody wants to be on the receiving end of the kind of insults and pressure we're putting on these people for supporting this, because this is completely disgusting and unacceptable.
Let me end with this. If I were not standing here, but instead Donald Trump was, what would you say to him?
I'd probably be going to jail, honestly, but
you and me both, brother. You and me both.
No, I would just ask why. I mean, I wouldn't ask why. I would have nothing to say to him. There's nothing that he can mentally comprehend at this point. None of this is Donald Trump at this point. Donald Trump is a dementia-riddled old man wandering through the White House shitting himself, while the people around him are desperately grasping at every ounce of power he provides for them to insulate themselves from the consequences that are coming. And these consequences are coming, and he's just a tool. And I would tell him that, you're just a tool being used by all the people around you, and it's sad and it's pathetic, and you're going to die with a horrible legacy. No one is going to remember you fondly.
Well, thanks for being out here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out all the way from DC. We really appreciate the national solidarity that we've had out here. It means a lot, and we've needed it. Minnesota's often a forgotten flyover state, and it's nice to.
I'm originally from Idaho,
so
I
you get it. So no, it's nice to have the national solidarity, because we've been dealing with a lot of attacks on the federal level, and LA gets a lot of attention, Chicago gets a lot of attention. Now it's like, yeah, we needed this for the moral support, because it's been hard. It's been a breaking point, and I think that this is what we needed for national solidarity here. So
well,
thank you so much.
I for one love America and Americans. No conditions.
Absolutely.
So I again.
Thank you so
and
much.
I'm feeling for you. This is a fucking terrible time.
It is. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
If federal authorities are saying they won't even entertain a joint and inclusive investigation, my question is, what are you afraid of?
Good afternoon from Minneapolis. It is absolutely a somber scene in the city, as one would expect, as one would imagine, having witnessed what we've witnessed, the bloodthirsty, cold-blooded murder of a citizen in her car, a mother of three, Renee Nicole Good, 37 years old, who's now being labeled by this administration of domestic terrorists, is labeling this woman a domestic terrorist. It is remarkable. And the party of law and order, the Justice for All party, Republicans, are now inhibiting justice, interfering with justice, obstructing justice, an investigation to seek information, to seek the truth about exactly what took place, where the officer's mind was. Not an officer. He's a masked secret police Gestapo agent of Donald Trump. But they're not looking for anything resembling evidence. And we know this because the FBI is now blocking the Minnesota investigative authorities from investigating this. This is from PBS. This should tell you everything you need to know. If indeed there's nothing to see here, there was no crime committed, everything was above board, they would say, here's all the evidence. Do your best. Let's get to the bottom of this. We want truth. We want justice for our officer. Set aside providing, administering justice for Renee Nicole Good. No. Even if they wanted justice for the officer, they would allow here's it all. Let's look into it. And that is not what's happening. Here's the headline from PBS News. Minnesota officials say they can't access evidence after fatal ICE shooting, and FBI won't work jointly on investigation. Minnesota's investigations agency said Thursday that the U.S. Attorney's Office has prevented it from taking part in the investigation into an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer's fatal shooting of Minneapolis woman Renee Good, a 37-year-old mother of three. Quote, the investigation would now be led solely by the Federal Bureau of Investigations, an FBI led by Kash Patel, the guy who's gallivanting all over the country, going to wrestling matches and concerts, flying on a private jet, and having the FBI's SWAT team, highly trained agents, as bodyguards for his country star girlfriend. Very reliable, these people. Will now be solely led by the FBI, and the BCA would no longer have access to the case materials, scene evidence, or investigative interviews necessary to complete a thorough and independent investigation, Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans said in a statement. It had been decided that the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension would investigate Good's shooting death along with the FBI, but that later was changed by the U.S. Attorney's Office, according to Evans. And look, I don't need to go into the litany of reasons why the U.S. Attorney's Offices all across the country under Donald Trump can't be trusted. He's putting his personal lawyers, Alina Habba, who is now out of New Jersey as a U.S. attorney because she was improperly, illegally put in there. Lindsay Halligan in the Eastern District of Virginia trying to secure persecution indictments against James Comey, against Letitia James that are being thrown out. Grand juries are saying, pound sand, we're out of here, you're not doing this. Same thing with Letitia James. So we can expect that kind of behavior, that kind of obstruction, also in this case with the U.S. attorney here. Now, thankfully, there are some Democrats, some good people on the scene here who aren't going to let this stand. The Attorney General of the state of Minnesota is one, Keith Ellison. He was on CNN yesterday talking about this, and I want to share it with you because this is something we all need to pay attention to relative to seeking justice, to honoring the memory of Renee Nicole Good. And there are people on the scene here, on the ground here, who have the power to do something about it. And they're not going to sit idly by while the FBI obstructs justice.
But I haven't seen everything. And I will tell you that but it all starts with an investigation, not a prosecution. It starts with an investigation. And if federal authorities are saying they won't even entertain a joint and inclusive investigation, that is deeply disturbing. And my question is, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of an independent investigation for? So I'm hoping that somebody over there at with the federal authorities understands the true damage to justice and the perception of justice that a closed off exclusive investigation would mean. It would mean that no matter what they come out with, it would be questioned. And maybe they don't care. You know, they've demonstrated a degree of cavalier conduct that is extraordinary and unprecedented. But I hope somebody over there understands that a meaningful, independent investigation that includes state authorities is essential to the cause of justice. And by the way, state authorities could investigate anyway. We don't need their authority. I mean, it's at least arguable, and I believe, substantially arguable, that there's a violation of Minnesota statutes here. And I could think of a number of potential charges. All of them depend upon an investigation, though. Mm-hmm. And the federal government can't stop Minnesota from doing its own. But I would hope that it wouldn't come to that.
There's a couple of things here that I think that need to be stowed away and understood. And that is the fact that this is someone who is, Keith Ellison, is someone who is speaking as a dispassionate administrator of justice. He's seeking justice. He's not seeking revenge. He's not automatically jumping to the conclusion that there needs to be a prosecution. He is simply calling for an investigation. He said it starts with an investigation, not a prosecution. This is completely counter to the way that Donald Trump and this entire administration, from Donald Trump to J.D. Vance to Kristi Noem to Pam Bondi to Kash Patel, all of them, the way they're acting. They're saying, oh, case closed before Renee Good was even off the scene, before any facts were known. The other thing that I want to see here, and listen, there's a chance I'm going to get to sit with, very briefly probably, the Attorney General. Busy guy right now, as you could imagine. I'm going to press, there should be charges. There should be criminal charges placed against this individual who, by all accounts, Jonathan Ross is the agent's name. The killer, his name is Jonathan Ross. He's a resident of Minnesota. Just because he's a federal agent does not mean, it does not extricate him or remove him from the possibility of accountability, of consequences for the crime that he committed. And I'm speaking as a partisan. I'm not speaking as someone within the Justice Department or someone within the framework of the legal system here in Minnesota. I want to see accountability. Now, if it's found through an investigation that I'm wrong, and he didn't murder her, then I want to see justice done, whatever that is. But it seems self-evident to me, based on the number of times that I've watched that horrific clip, that we know what happened. So there's really only one way to look at this, as I see it, is that you've got Donald Trump, the Donald Trump administration absolutely obstructing when the FBI is saying, you can't see the evidence. We're not going to provide you any resources whatsoever to do your job, to seek justice, to find justice, even for their officer, as I said. It tells you everything you need to know. Anyway, I'm going to be on the scene here today, hopefully talking to more people and participating in some protests. If there is one in your area, and there are many all over the country, I would highly recommend, it is your civic duty, just as it is mine and all of us, to raise our voices when injustice happens, because if there is injustice for anybody, there's no justice for all of us. Sound off in the comments below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Before I leave, though, listen, if you appreciate what I do, if I bring you value, if me coming out to Minnesota does something for you that you appreciate, and you can afford to $2 a month to help support this work, I would appreciate it very much. You can become a channel member on YouTube by clicking the join button, or even better, a better option is go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. $2 goes a long way if we're able to marshal the size of this audience and supporting independent media. I think another self-evident point is that it's more important now than it ever has been.
Everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.
Anytime that something like the incident, the tragedy, the murder that took place here in Minnesota happens, anytime something like this happens, the administration doesn't roll out Donald Trump. They try to roll somebody out whose brain works appropriately, who is at least semi-articulate in matters of communication. And so yesterday they rolled out J.D. Vance. He did two. He did a Fox News interview, and he did a press conference in the White House press briefing room. And I want to start with this particular clip that is unrelated to the incident here in the situation on the ground in Minnesota. It's unrelated to the murder of Renee Good, but it tells you, what I want to do is paint a picture for the framing of how they look at the law. In this clip, this is J.D. Vance talking about the legal authority to invade Venezuela, and he's talking about the War Powers Act. He's talking about Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, Clause 11, if you want to nerd out about it and read the Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the Constitution is the granting of the unilateral granting of to the unilateral power of Congress the power to declare war. And J.D. Vance is deciding which laws are fake and invalid and which they will follow. And it tells you everything you need to know going forward, even about domestic matters, that they're just picking and choosing. They're choosing which laws are on the book, which articles in the Constitution are fake or invalid. I think that's the word he used, fake and unconstitutional. Fundamentally, a fake and unconstitutional law. The War Powers Act, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11. Watch this.
Technicality than any disagreement in policy. If you look at the people who actually voted, every single one of them have supported the administration's plan. Second of all, as the president, I believe himself has already said, every president, Democrat or Republican, believes the War Powers Act is fundamentally a fake and unconstitutional law. It's not going to change anything about how we conduct foreign policy over the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, and that'll continue to be how we approach things. Go ahead.
So now that we have you fully understanding the mindset of MAGA, the mindset of J.D. Vance, the same J.D. Vance who called the man he serves, the man he licks the boots of, the man he is a lapdog for, that guy he called America's Hitler, who he's now on board serving America's Hitler. He also did a Fox News interview yesterday. And he said some very alarming things about this mass deportation operation that's running all across the country right now. And he framed it, one, he likes to frame this as a law enforcement operation. It is not. It is not illegal to exist in the country without permission from the Secretary of State. What is illegal, what is a misdemeanor, is to cross the border illegally. But you're just being here in the country existing, there is no crime that's being committed. So this is not a law enforcement operation. But he says something about going door to door. And he used that particular phrase more than once yesterday. And I think should be ringing alarm bells in the minds of every American who hears it. Because what exactly does that mean? We'll talk about it after the clip.
What we've done is actually gotten 2.5 million illegal aliens out without any of the really big marquee things that we've been working on. That was just simple willpower and the President of the United States coming in and saying this is done. I think we're going to see those deportation numbers ramp up as we get more and more people online, working for ICE, going door to door and making sure that if you're an illegal alien, you've got to get out of this country, and if you want to come back, apply through the proper channel.
As they ramp up the employment, listen, I've already talked at length. It's sickening the caliber of individual, or the lack of character and caliber of individual that they are ramping up to go door to door in America. People who are functionally illiterate, who cannot pass open book tests to cover the things, to demonstrate that they understand the concepts of law, of not violating people's Fourth Amendment rights, of Fifth Amendment rights, of Sixth Amendment rights, of 14th Amendment rights. And then he says that they're going to go door to door. Does that mean that on my block, they're going to come to my house and knock on my door, kick in my door looking for illegal immigrants to arrest, to kidnap, to send to internment camps, to deport to countries or continents they've never even been to before? Is that what he intends to have us believe, that it's a door-to-door operation? Because I can tell you, it is alarming that the party for years, that we won't take this tyranny, these jackbooted thugs, these armed agents of the state. And then as soon as the armed agents of the state come and start usurping powers, drawing in powers for themselves that don't actually exist, all of those MAGA patriots are silent or clapping, applauding, cheering this on. Because it was never about tyranny. It was about the oppression of others for them. And that's exactly what is being done right now by this Donald Trump administration. Now, Fox News interview out of the way. Let's go to the White House press briefing room, where he doubled down on the door-to-door comment.
On duty, or has he been placed on leave, on administrative leave? And what really was the target of the operation on Wednesday? ICE operation on Wednesday?
Well, first of all, it was a legitimate law enforcement operation. We were going door to door to try to find criminal illegal aliens and deport them from the United States of America, because if you come to our country illegally in violation of our immigration laws, then we have the mandate, and in fact, we have the legal duty to enforce those immigration laws. Whether he's been placed on administrative leave, I don't know the answer to that question. I'd refer it to the Department of Homeland Security, and they can follow up. I will say, look, I would appreciate everybody saying a prayer for that agent. Look, in the past 6 months, he has been hit twice by a motor vehicle. One time, the first time, it led to over 30 stitches and very serious injuries to his legs. This is a guy who's actually done a very, very important job for the United States of America. He's been assaulted, he's been attacked, he's been injured because of it. He deserves a debt of gratitude, and I think the media prejudging and talking about this guy as if he's a murderer is one of the most disgraceful things I've ever seen from the American media. Yeah.
Two things, obviously. I've already talked about the door-to-door thing. A woman has been killed, a mother of 3. Renee Nicole Good was gunned down in her car by a federal agent, and he doesn't want any prayers for her. No prayers for her children. No prayers for the surviving family members of her. No. Pray for the agent. Pray for the gunman. If you've watched the clip, and I normally do not recommend people watch police shooting videos. That has been kind of my whole thing in the past because it's trauma-inducing. But when the government is willy-nilly murdering citizens in the street, you have to watch it. You must pay attention because this will not be the first citizen killed at the end of a gun that is possessed and fired by a federal agent. It will not be the last time. They are killing citizens and then asking you to pray for the killer. It is unconscionable, to say the least. One more clip where he lies, bald-faced lie, about what took place. We've all seen the clip. She was not attempting to run over the agent. And here, this is J.D. Vance demonizing the victim of one of his masked secret police. Jonathan Ross is his name. Watch this.
People in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
It's rich for a liar to call other people a liar, is it not? The demonization of this woman is something that history will not look fondly on because of video evidence. And thankfully, there are people out there who had enough sense and enough situational awareness to break out their phones and start recording. We have many, many angles, multiple angles of this. There is likely body camera footage that, unless it gets adjudicated in court, we're not going to see because they are suppressing the release of any evidence. And all of that points to the fact that this guy, Jonathan Ross, was not justified to pull the trigger. In fact, he was escalating a situation that did not need to be escalated. She was driving 1 or 2, maybe 3 miles an hour. Her wheels were turned to avoid him. The gunshot went through the corner of the windshield. If you watch the video, he almost reaches around to kill her. And J.D. Vance has the temerity to sit there like a smug dick and malign her while asking for prayers for the killer. Gross. Gross. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below this video. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054, or email me daily@dollamore.com. I'm going to go. Got a lot to do today. I'm going to be out in the street, talking to some people, protesting, raising my voice, exhibiting my opposition to this madness, and I hope you do too. We are out here at the Whipple Federal Building in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the presence of what can only be described as cowards in masked Donald Trump's secret police, the Gestapo. We've got DeWoke Farmer, Will Kelly over here, with a contingent of protesters and actual patriots to the country who are protesting this.
If you If you were American, you would be over here with us. If you believed in the Constitution,
This is exactly what I've been talking about Minneapolis being a different kind of city. The people here have resolve. They're not going to stand for the murder, the cold-blooded, bloodthirsty killing of a citizen here, and they have showed up. The feds apparently, or the police yesterday came and they tore down all of the barricades that were blocking from 33rd to 34th Street on Portland Avenue. And it is just a response from the city and the citizens here to do the noble thing, the right thing, the decent thing, to protest, as you can see right here. Shame on the masked cowards. Too ashamed of the work they do to show their face.
why are you betraying the Constitution? Why? Make it make fucking sense, assholes! Alright, 3, on 1, we want fuck you Nazis. 3, 2, 1, fuck you Nazis!
Trump is going to be around forever and you will be held accountable. You're criminals. Doing this under the auspices of Trump's authority is not. You will be held accountable. Your smug, unearned arrogance will be rewarded with fucking prosecutions, cowards. Keep staring, little guy. Fucking weakling.
Special treatment? Look at you. What is he doing wrong? It's a fucking sidewalk. Well, we can't use the fucking sidewalk? Oh, what? He's a Proud Boy, so he can stand here. Is that what
Nazis get special treatment?
Cozy to the Nazi, huh?
They're not gonna protect you, bro.
Oh, really?
Fuck off, coward!
What about him? What about him?
He's okay, but
What
we're
about
not.
him?
Masked Nazi fucks! Cowards, too ashamed of what you do to show your face, you little bitch! Half-pint bitches! Half-pint little cowards!
Look at this one. Arms out so he looks big.
Puff your arms out so you look like a real man!
Put your chest out too, honey.
Little guy. You're just a little guy. Do you feel tough? Does it make you feel tough with your bear spray, pussy?
Cut! Cut!
You do feel tough? You shouldn't. You should be embarrassed.
I know, that's the reason for having arms open.
That's what it is, huh? Not one of you has strength. Not one of you has honor. Not one of you has dignity. You're all cowardly little bitches cosplaying as a military. But don't worry, the real military, the veterans, we're out here.
Woo!
And we fought this nation's wars. We fought Al-Qaeda. We know how to fight an insurgency. And when the First Amendment fails, remember what side of history you are on, you Nazi fucking scum. Hell yeah.
Murderers! Show your face! Be proud! Show your face!
Renee Good! Renee Good!
Renee is good!
Our community is good! Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good! You're an asshole!
You're from New York! Go to hell! Get out of Minnesota!
Imagine being prideful that you're trying to create a fucking white ethno-state, you Nazi cunts. Yeah, miniature Nazis. Miniature in ethics, miniature in morals, miniature in stature.
Show your face, pussy! Show your face! Sure. Supporting racism! Show your face! Show your face! If you're so proud of what you're doing, show your damn faces! Show your damn face!
Get a real job, you coward!
Show your face, you coward! You know that Jonathan Ross was identified because he showed some of his face. That's why you covered your face. You're covering your whole face. Except you can't breathe, so you took off your nose or your nose. So you can't breathe, but you gas us.
Yeah, you, guilty, Six. What are you looking at? I'm talking to you. Edith, quit your job. Hey, Edith, quit your job. Hey, Edith, quit your job. Hey, Edith, quit your job.
Quit your job! Quit your job! Save face! Quit your job! Save face! Quit your job! Save face!
Get out of our community!
If you quit your job...
Retreat! Retreat! Run away! Run away! You left the smallest one to hold down the fort? That's not tactically sound. You left the little guy to hold down the fort. You left the oldest, smallest one?
Everybody wants to protect beautiful Latinas.
We will not be intimidated!
Oh, the little guy's running away now too. Old man. You will be held accountable for taking orders from a child rapist. You know that, right?
Release them! Release them! Let them go! 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 Let them go!
They are talking about people who have been arrested on the site here, protesters that are cuffed and detained behind the gates here. I don't know exactly why all of the cowards who are masked ran away.
Let them go! Honor the Constitution! We have a right to peacefully assemble! It's called the First Amendment! If you haven't heard of it, you traitorous scum! Free the people!
Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, the freedom to peaceably assemble, the freedom to redress your government of your grievances. You swore an oath to that Constitution, you little Nazi fuck, remember? I swore an oath to it when I fucking enlisted in the Marine Corps, bitch.
Do you see any checks on your power on the world stage? Is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop.
The New York Times published an interview with Donald Trump yesterday that should be the top of the news everywhere. The quotes from Donald Trump disregarding international law, U.S. law, any constraints or restraints on his power. He believes he is a king-like figure. He doesn't believe that he is a servant leader, that he is a public servant. He believes that we are his subjects. We are subject to him. That he is not subject to the laws. He is not constrained by the laws. That all he has to go on and the only authority he needs is whatever morality he has in his empty bucket of a brain. That this man who is a convicted felon, a credibly accused rapist of children, someone who is an adjudicated sexual assaulter of women, he believes that he has the total right to do anything he pleases. This is the headline from the New York Times. Trump lays out a vision of power restrained only by, quote, my own morality. On topic after topic, President Trump made clear that he would be the arbiter of any limits to his authorities, not international law or treaties. He would be the arbiter. He'll decide just how much power he has. What's the history of the world when a dictator takes power? Do they say, oh no, that's too much power for me. I need to dial it back a little bit. I need be a little bit more reasonable and constrained in my execution of my authority. What dictator ever did that? What tyrant ever did that? What megalomaniacal, demented lunatic ever did that? This is from the article, and there are some doozy quotes in here. President Trump declared on Wednesday evening that his power as commander-in-chief is constrained only by his own morality, brushing aside international law and other checks on his ability to use military might to strike, invade, or coerce nations around the world. Asked in a wide-ranging interview with the New York Times if there were any limits on his global powers, Mr. Trump said, yeah, there is one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me.
Do you see any checks on your power on the world stage? Is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop it.
If Donald Trump had a powerful mind, I would think, oh yeah, maybe that's good because his powerful mind could stop him. But Donald Trump does not have a powerful mind. He is driven by his weakness, by his insecurities. He's driven by his cracked, broken ego. Begging for the Nobel Prize. Whining when he doesn't get it. The man who was not hugged enough by his father and probably hugged far too much by his mother thinks that he is unrestrained, that he can do anything he wants unless his powerful mind stops him. These are the rantings of someone who should not be in power in any way. He shouldn't be a city council. He shouldn't be on the board of a homeowners association, and yet he's found himself with MAGA approval to be president of the United States of America, the commander-in-chief of the world's most powerful military that has ever existed. He has the nuclear codes within his grasp and is saying that it's his own morality, the credibly accused rapist of children, his morality will be his constraint. How's that worked out in the past? I don't need international law, he added. I'm not looking to hurt people.
Not international
and that's
law.
very good. I don't need international law. I'm not looking to hurt.
One, I don't buy that. I think Donald Trump is absolutely seeking to hurt people. I think it brings him great joy. It brings him contentment to harm people, to watch people in misery. And the evidence is the shuttering of USAID, the stripping of health care, the stripping of food assistance, the removal of a woman's bodily autonomy to make health care decisions relative to her reproduction. All of these, and there's a litany. There's probably 10,000 things I could list right now. I'm not looking to hurt people. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to, even though I believe you are hurting people. And the fact that you don't view your harm of people as harm of people is a problem in and of itself. When pressed further about whether his administration needed to abide by international law, Mr. Trump said, I do. But he made clear he would be the arbiter when such constraints applied to the United States. Not lawyers who are experts in international law, not people at the DOJ, not his attorney general, not his advisors. He is the sole arbiter of how much power he has. Like a king, like a dictator, like a tyrant, like a Kim Jong-un type. Not in America, brother. Not in America. It depends what your definition of international law is, he said. It depends on what your definition of international law is. I mean, maybe we all know the answer to this question, but are you fucking stupid? It depends what the definition of international... We know what the definition of international law is. It's clear, it's outlined, it's basic. And the fact that basic words and concepts elude you is enough to disqualify. It should be enough to impeach, convict, and remove and forbid from running for federal office again. Final paragraph here. Mr. Trump's assessment of his own freedom to use any instrument of military, economic, or political power to cement American supremacy was the most blunt acknowledgement yet of his worldview. And its core is the concept that national strength, rather than laws, treaties, and conventions, should be the deciding factor as powers collide. I knew that this second term would be worse, but I had no idea exactly the trouble we would find ourselves. Everybody knew that it would be bad. I don't think anybody knew that it would be this bad. This bad, this quickly, certainly. A lot of people will, I'm not surprised by this. You should be surprised by this. You should be surprised, maybe not by the actions of Donald Trump, but there is zero pushback from Republicans. They are so weak. They are such just grinning idiots in the presence of Donald Trump, applauding tyranny. The man who said he has the authority to cancel all rules and regulations and articles up to and including the Constitution of the United States, the party that whips out their little pocket constitutions like a prop, has nothing to say. As he does interviews like this, that should be alarming to anybody, especially those of us who have raised our right hand and sworn oath to the Constitution, a solemn vow to support and defend. I know probably foreigners, especially people who live outside of the United States, probably like, they're always saying the stupid line that they say all the time about support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But those are important words. And when you attach that, you append that to an oath. It's not just a little cute saying. You're raising your hand and you're swearing. And if you're religious, you're swearing before your God that you're going to support and defend all of the Constitution. And these phony patriots, these phony Christians, I don't have a word for that, they're just liars. They want to oppress black and brown people. It brings them giddiness, glee. They are beside themselves with joy to watch people oppressed, their freedoms suppressed, their ejection from the country, the detainment and arrest of American citizens by immigration officials. There will be consequences. I don't know how they'll come. I don't know when they'll come, but I do believe there will be consequences. What do you think? Where am I wrong? Where am I right?
It was a perfect attack. Think of what we've done. I mean, we've taken over a whole country. The oil that we've taken $4 billion worth of oil in one day.
Donald Trump was on Sean Hannity's show last night, really just broadcasting to the planet that he is a megalomaniacal, I don't want to parse words, I don't want to be insensitive, fucking idiot. How about that? Yesterday, Sean Hannity, who's been really banging the drum that Maria Machado, the resistance leader of Venezuela, who got the Nobel Prize this last year, that she should turn over the prize to Donald Trump. Hannity interviewed her and asked her about it, and she, in this weird, obsequious manner, said, I want to share it with him. We want to share it with Donald Trump as he bombs countries indiscriminately. He's bombing Iran. He's bombing Nigeria. He's bombing Venezuela. He's threatening Panama. He's threatening Cuba. He's threatening Mexico next on the list. He's threatening Denmark and Greenland and Norway and Canada. What did I miss? Colombia. He's leveling military threats across the globe. She wants to share the Nobel Peace Prize with him. And Hannity didn't miss the opportunity to touch on the topic with the dipshit Donald Trump.
Let me ask you about Maria Corina Machado. I've had her on TV this week.
Yeah, she's a very nice person.
Okay, she won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes.
When she accepted that Peace Prize, she dedicated it to you. She said to me this week, both on TV and radio, that she wants to give the Nobel Prize, her Nobel Peace Prize, to you for liberating her country. In 2023, she won over 92% of the vote to be the leader of the opposition. Maduro kept her off the ballot. Do you have any plans to meet with her? And would you accept the Nobel Prize she wants to hand to you?
Well, I understand she's coming in next week sometime. And I look forward to saying hello to her. And I've heard that she wants to do that. That would be a great honor. I did put out 8 wars. 8 1/4, because, you know, Thailand and Cambodia started going at it again. So
I'll put the list up
I give a
if you
quarter,
want.
so it's,
Yeah.
you put the list out, it's a hell of a list. But I've stopped 8 wars. And I think, it's been a major embarrassment to Norway. Now, I don't know what Norway has to do with it, but that's where the committee is located, a lot of Norwegian people. And it's been a very big embarrassment to the country of Norway, whether they have anything to do with it or not. I think they do. They say they don't. But, when you put out 8 wars, in theory, you should get 1 for each war, okay? Because some of these wars were going on for 30 years.
So if you're following along at home, he wants 8 Nobel Peace Prizes. I don't know why he's not satisfied with the soccer Peace Prize that he got, that he put on his own head. Yoink, took the medal, put it on himself. The metaphor is it's just lousy with metaphor for what Donald Trump is and who he is. It's a major embarrassment to Norway. That's like saying it's a major embarrassment to Donald Trump and the United States that There Will Be Blood didn't win the Oscar in whatever year that was, 2008, 2009, against No Country for Old Men. It's a major embarrassment to the United States that the Oscars didn't do, because the United States doesn't have anything to do with that. It's not a governmental thing. The Nobel Committee is not governmental. He knows it. He mentions it twice, as he says that he deserves 8 Nobel Prizes in 1 year for the 8 1/4 wars. One of the wars that he ended actually started again, so he's taking quarter credit even though the war's not over. It's hard to follow the fucking moron that is the president of the United States, but if I'm putting the pieces together, if I'm connecting the dots, like one of Donald Trump's Alzheimer tests, I think I got it straight. The interview really went off the rails when Donald Trump started talking about Venezuela. The president of peace is talking about the country that he invaded, that he is now stealing the oil of, that he believes is his, that he is now taking the money that they're going to get from it and deposited it into offshore accounts. It's not even running through the United States Treasury. Take that on for size. Watch this.
And Obama should have done it. They all should have done it. Clinton should have done it. Obama went the other way. Obama decided to go with Iran. I don't know how Jewish people can vote for Biden and Obama. They were absolutely on the side of Iran. They were against
Or
Jewish
Mamdani,
people. Well, we're going to find out.
your favorite
about him.
mayor.
Well, I have a very nice relationship, but I thought it would take at least maybe a month or 2 months before he went after me. He hit me on the attack on Venezuela, which is pretty unusual because not too many people have hit us. That was a perfect attack. Think of what we've done. We've taken over a whole country. We're going to make the country strong and good, and we're going to ultimately be able to vote and put somebody in that they like. The oil that we've taken $4 billion worth of oil in 1 day, and that'll increase. We're going to have it rebuilt. All the big oil companies are coming in. They're going to make a lot of money, and Venezuela's going to get some of that money, and we're going to get some of that money, and We brought stability to the region. We brought stability and much lower oil prices. You know, we have gasoline now down to, in many cases, $1.99 a gallon.
Wait. I thought, this is very strange. I thought that the arrest of Maduro was a law enforcement operation. I thought it was about the indictment that the DOJ secured. I thought it was about him having unregistered machine guns, which is in the indictment. Why is Donald Trump saying this was an attack, a perfect attack, just like his perfect phone call and every other thing he labels as perfect? Why is that? If it was a military attack, it can't be the other things that they say it is. If it's about the law enforcement operation that was just backed by the United States military, then why is he talking about oil? Why is he talking about we've taken the oil in the perfect attack, and that a lot of people are going to become rich and make a lot of money based on that attack and that stealing of the oil? Donald Trump is so comfortable with his newfound disregard, maybe it's not newfound, but certainly the powers that he feels he has, he is untouchable. Thanks to the June 2024 ruling by the United States Supreme Court, that Donald Trump has absolute immunity from prosecution for any crimes he commits as president of the United States. He fully understands that. Our career criminal president, our convicted felon president, understands that there are no constraints, there are no guardrails to his power. His perfect. Anytime Donald Trump starts labeling something perfect, you know something's fucked up, right? Anyway, what do you think? Let's talk about all of this. Our slumped over osteoporosis suffering president. He looks like a human apostrophe sitting in that chair. I'd love to know what you think. Comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I would ask this. If you appreciate what I do, if I bring you value, if you watch my videos with any regularity and get something out of them, please consider supporting independent media. If I'm not your guy and there's somebody else out there on TikTok or Instagram or here on YouTube or Facebook, they got a Substack and they do more for you than me, support that person in independent media. It certainly doesn't have to be me, but obviously helping me helps me. I would appreciate it. You can become a channel member on YouTube. Click the join button below, or the even better option is to go to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time from Minnesota. Be genuine and take care of one another. A physician was on the scene begging officers to allow him to help, to put to work his expertise, his training as a healer. Right now, it is very late in the evening of Wednesday, January 7th, the day of the murder of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis. And the reason it is the day before that you're watching this is because I am jumping on a plane in the morning and going to Minneapolis to join with my brothers and sisters in Minnesota to mourn the loss of this individual who was murdered by Donald Trump's masked secret police. Let me say this. In August of 2017, remember the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville? Fine people on both sides. Nazis, fine people. Heather Heyer was murdered by Nazis on that day, and we should never forget her name. The same can be said of Renee Nicole Good, who was murdered by Nazis, be they uniformed Donald Trump's masked secret police, ICE agents, Nazis. We should never forget her name. Her sacrifice should not be in vain. We should all speak up, rise up, and fight against fascism. These abject fucking Nazis in the Trump administration, the fascists. Heather Heyer
And Renee Nicole Good deserved much, much better. I'm going to talk a little bit about the lies that are now spewing forth from the flapping lips under Donald Trump's nose, saying things that are just easily, verifiably untrue about the events that you've probably already witnessed on video from many angles of what took place. I don't know about you, and I'm going to get to this post from Donald Trump on Truth Social, but I demand arrests. This ICE agent, this thug, this masked armed agent of the state, this secret police, this Gestapo, this Nazi needs to be held accountable. Kristi Noem, at the very least, needs to be impeached, convicted, and removed. I would settle for an arrest and conviction, but under this Department of Justice, that's just not an option. Donald Trump, the same. Impeachment, conviction, removal. If not for anything else, then for this post I'm getting ready to read you from Truth Social at 3:28 p.m. the day of the shooting. I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. What event are you speaking of, Donald Trump? What event are you talking about? Are you talking about the summary execution of a woman in her car by one of your thugs? One of your Nazi fucking goons? Is that what you mean? It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator. And the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. He seems to have done this in self-defense. It is amazing to me, as an aside, that these armed alpha men, these steely-eyed warriors, can be such abject weaklings in the face of people exercising their First Amendment right to protest, to redress their government of their grievances, to peaceably assemble. And it sends shudders through their spines. Their eyes glaze over in blood-fueled fear of the prospect of citizens disregarding, disobeying, disagreeing with Donald Trump. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive. Is it hard to fucking believe he wasn't touched by the car, the armed agent who sent rounds downrange, shooting this innocent woman in the fucking head multiple times? Is it hard to believe that he's not harmed Donald Trump? Another doofus who's never faced any danger in his entire life, up to and including the non-bullet wound in his ear. He's hard to believe he's alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. All of this lies. He was not struck by the vehicle. He was not run over by the vehicle. He was not rammed by the vehicle. He was not touched by the vehicle. If you need to lie this fucking hard, what is it you're hiding? What is it you're afraid of? With Donald Trump and conservatives, it's everything. Everything sends them into a fear-fueled tizzy. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. You mean the armed to the teeth, these goons who are pulling their weapons on citizens willy-nilly in the streets of America? These masked armed agents of the state who are not saying who they are, who are kidnapping community members, detaining, arresting, imprisoning American citizens under the course of their duties? Is that who you mean? They're so afraid for their lives. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe as they murder American citizens in their vehicles. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers, unless, of course, they're the ones being assaulted during the insurrection that I incited. I guess there's carve-outs for Donald Trump. Anyway, that's enough of that fucking bullshit. So here is the killer ICE agent that took the life of Renee Nicole Good. And let me also say this before I play the clip. You're seeing all kinds of images that are like created with AI. AI doesn't have the ability to see through his neck gaiter, his face covering. Those are fake. Those are bullshit. AI is a scourge. Don't share those. Don't put your faith in AI's ability to create a face out of whole cloth. Here is the killer Nazi masked armed agent of the state who took the life of Renee Nicole Good.
You! Shame! 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 Shame!
That's the guy who apparently had just been run over by a small or mid-sized SUV. That guy, what a warrior. What a Hulk. What a superhuman to be directing other agents and on his feet after having shot rounds downrange and eliminated, like the Nazi he is, a citizen exercising what we assume to be exercising her First Amendment right. We don't know yet. She might have just been in the road trying to get out of the way of these ICE agents who were creating chaos in this neighborhood. We don't know. What we do know, though, is that the Donald Trump administration doesn't know anything. Donald Trump is lying about things that are verifiably false. Kristi Noem is lying about things that are verifiably false that even Fox News is pushing back on. Let's start with the lie that is obvious if you've watched the video.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well.
It was the snow, y'all. You can trust the lady in the 10-gallon hat, right? She's not cosplaying as a house-to-house urban combat vet. Now she's cosplaying as a cowgirl. Yeah, yeehaw! She's in Texas, after all. She's got to play the part. Everything for her is a role, right? Even her face isn't real. It changes from day to day. Here is Fox News' John Roberts expressing exactly what I just said, except in more Fox News terms, that what they're saying doesn't line up. The video, the facts from the video, the reality depicted in the video is absolutely not the same thing as what, I almost said Nancy Mace, Kristi Noem is saying right now.
He then said, "Get the F out of this city," to those ICE agents. John.
Yeah, I've seen the video several times as well. I've kind of gone through it frame by frame. I don't want to describe it because you can't see the entire scene play out. There's an area in front of the vehicle that is obscured by the vehicle itself, so we don't know 100% what happened during that incident. But what I saw, it does counteract the narrative that they were trying to push their car out of the snow. The ICE agents who were involved here, because that vehicle was clearly in the middle of the street as it was approached by a couple of federal agents before it sped off. So again, we'll wait until we get clearance to look at this video and have eyes that are more expert than mine take a look at it. But clearly there are very, very conflicting opinions of what happened. We have the one opinion from DHS, and then we have the other opinion from the mayor and local officials.
John Roberts, but what I saw of it does counteract the narrative that Kristi Noem was trying to push about the car being in the snow. I didn't see any spinning tires. I didn't see any wheels. I didn't see any stuck vehicles. Did you? I've seen many angles of this, many minutes of this interaction of the Nazis killing the citizen. Maybe the biggest lie of it all, though, was this from Kristi Noem, insisting that Donald Trump and ICE are here in Minneapolis to bring peace and public safety, says the woman who just made excuses for the armed agent of the state murdering a citizen.
This city has burned before, and your mayor and your governor let it happen. President Trump is not going to let that happen. He and our federal law enforcement officers are here to bring peace and to bring public safety.
I guess we gotta agree to disagree, Kristi, about what is peaceful and safety providing for the citizens of America. I guess we'll just agree to disagree. The other laughable moment in another press conference she gave was that if you're a citizen of the United States or a legal resident here, you have nothing to fear. Tell that to Renee Nicole Good, Kristi Noem. Will you be speaking at her memorial service? Will you be giving a eulogy telling her she didn't have anything to fear as she's murdered by Nazis in the street?
Business owners across the Rio Grande Valley told me they're concerned about some of the sweeping ICE raids on work sites, particularly in construction, where sometimes workers with legal status are being kind of swept up in the process, delaying projects and hurting our economy. What is your message to these businesses?
Well, that's simply not happening. So it's just not true. We are focused on going after the worst of the worst in every community across this country to make sure that we're making our streets safer. And anyone who is a citizen of this country or is here legally has nothing to fear, has nothing to get out of bed in the morning to be scared of, because we are only enforcing the law.
I'm going to read a little bit, just seriously, three very small paragraphs from NBC News reporting. They interviewed someone who was on the scene, who talked about the brutality, the heartlessness, the lack of humanity that was offered to the body, either the dying or dead body of Renee Nicole Good, by these agents who murdered her in cold blood in the streets of Minneapolis. Watching woman die, quote, will change my life forever, neighbor said. A man with raised arms who identified himself as a physician asked ICE agents if he could check the woman's pulse, but was denied, according to both Heller's account and the video. Heller said the agents wouldn't let anyone near the scene and told people that emergency services were on the way. In the video, one agent can be heard saying, "We have our own medics." It took about 15 minutes for EMS to arrive, Heller estimated, because vehicles were blocking the street. Quote, they were on foot when they got through, and they carried her body out just by her limbs. They didn't even have a stretcher, Heller said. She was carried out like a sack of potatoes. I've never seen anything like this before. This was horrific and will change my life forever, she said. It's just so terrifying. I feel so scared. Speaking of lack of humanity, speaking of lack of decency and regard for human life, from the Family Values Party, the Sanctity of Human Life Party, a physician was on the scene begging officers to allow him to help, to put to work his expertise, his training as a healer. And they told him, "Fuck off, go away. We have EMTs. We have our own medics. You have a physician on the scene, you dumb fucking Nazis." And you say, "Oh, we got EMS." You think that an EMT is on par, is of the same station qualification-wise as a physician? You think your ICE medics, your Nazi medics are as good as a physician? This has been reported widely in the media, but luckily for us, we have video of the moment. I got this from the Huffington Post. Thank you for this. Watch this.
Go check a pulse. No, back up now. I'm a physician. I don't care.
We understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor. You caught butter in the face. You killed my neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the man?
I'm a physician. I don't care. The Nazi squeals like the little fucking piggy that he is. I don't care that you could save her life. Dead people don't testify against officers who kill them, he thought. What will we do if she survives and can go to court and test the veracity of our lies, our Nazi lies? He thought. While their president, while their leader, while the chief Nazi who dispatched them there lies even more. And Kristi Noem lies even more. And the mushmouth dildo with ears who promised you could sleep well, America, just the day before this happened. You could sleep well, America. You're going to be safe. Apparently not, if you're Renee Nicole Good. Anyway, again, I will be on the ground in Minnesota in just hours. If you are in the area, I would encourage you to peacefully protest, to exercise your First Amendment right under the Constitution of the United States, which is still in effect, much to the Nazi fascist regime's intent. I love and appreciate you very much. I hope this is an inflection point. I hope that her death is not in vain. Please ensure that it is not.
And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough.
After yesterday's brutal, cold-blooded murder of Renee Nicole Good at the hands of Donald Trump's Nazi masked secret police, it was very apparent that we are in a vacuum of leadership, a vacuum of decency in this country, especially at the federal level. Lucky for us, though, there are a few leaders out there, elected and otherwise, who are showing up. We're not just doing the right things, not just saying the right things, but being there for their constituency. And in the case of Tim Walz, which is who I'm going to talk about today, he's showing up not just for the people of Minneapolis, not just for the people of Minnesota, but for all of us who are disgusted by what we see on a daily basis in our cities, in our streets, in our neighborhoods, with the continued kidnapping by secret police, masked, anonymous, wildly, heavily armed Nazi fucks under Donald Trump's command. That they are ramping up recruitment. So much so in previous topics I've talked about, they're hiring people who are practically illiterate, who cannot pass open book tests, who have to leave training to go and attend to court cases where they have gun-related charges. People who are harassing female recruits, female inductees, sexually harassing them. People who can't pass the physical test. People who are way too old, way too unskilled. And this is what you get when you employ that kind of expertise onto the streets of the United States. When you deploy morons, people who want to cosplay as military guys who never had the mettle to serve or weren't qualified in the first place and got rejected out of hand. But Tim Walz has showed up. He did show up. And I want to talk about a few of the topics he talked about yesterday. First, we're going to start with the most important aspect. And I hope I hope against hope that this doesn't end up like every other case where a cop does something horrific and gets off. Tim Walz is saying, dedicating, he's making this admission here. I hope that we can take him at his word, and it's a promise and it's solemn that we are going to thoroughly investigate this and hold this person accountable if indeed he is found to have acted negligently, in a liable fashion, or criminally. Watch Tim Walz.
To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team.
I hope to see that. I do. I know if past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, but this is a new age. And I think the American people are fed up with the masked secret police and their kidnapping force. The other thing he talked about was talking directly to Kristi Noem and Donald Trump and telling them, not in his brilliant words, spicy words as Jacob Fry yesterday, the mayor of Minneapolis, when he told ICE to get the fuck out. But here is Tim Walz saying, you've done enough. Move along. Get out.
And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information.
To be sure, we don't need any more help from the federal government. If this is the kind of help you provide, murdering citizens, we're good. We've got it. As they round up black and brown people all across the country in an effort to create this new white ethno-state that Donald Trump is just feverishly working himself over every night in the residence at the White House. I said previously, I'm jumping on a flight here in a few hours to go to Minneapolis. I will be there in solidarity with the people of Minneapolis, the people of Minnesota, the people affected by this the most. And I will be protesting, as is my solemn, natural right as a human being. The right granted in the First Amendment isn't granted by the First Amendment. It's protected by the First Amendment. And this is Tim Walz calling on protesters, reminding people this is your patriotic duty to protest. Of course, peacefully. Of course, peacefully. He says at the end of this, I don't think it's in this clip, but he says at the end of the presser that it is incumbent upon all of us, but don't give them the excuse to crack down, to declare martial law, to send in more troops, to federalize the situation. Don't give them that excuse. I certainly will not be doing that. But listen to Tim Walz make an impassioned plea for people to protest.
And I think Commissioner Jacobson was very clear, and I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need.
He went on and spoke about something that seems so evident to the rest of us, that this administration is just steeped in lies. It's their native tongue. And that Kristi Noem speaks with just arrogant ignorance about what took place. No facts were on the ground. Renee Nicole Good's body wasn't probably even room temperature yet, to be crass about it. And Kristi Noem was already placing blame on this person. exonerating the agent, acting as though he did nothing wrong, calling this person a domestic terrorist. A domestic terrorist. If you've seen the clip, the only domestic terrorist I saw, and I hope you would agree, was the Nazi who fired 2 rounds into the head of Renee Nicole Good. Here's Tim Walz talking about her ignorance.
About it. I know that many of you, myself included, have seen a very difficult video to watch, one where there's a family member watched their family member be shot and killed in front of them. It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security Director herself, has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle. We're not living in a normal world. And so, no, I have not. And I want to be very careful because I know how painful this is. I know how painful it is right now. I'm saying person and all that. This is a human being. This very well is an individual's child, a parent, and we don't know that yet. So no, I have not, but once we do, we will.
We are not, indeed, Governor Walz, living in a normal world. And then I'm going to end with this because I talked about this yesterday, and I'm glad he picked up on this. It was very strange how quickly they cleared the scene. I know I've been saying this a lot lately, that dead people don't testify. When a cop kills somebody, they make sure they're dead because if someone could give a different account of the situation, lucky for us, there were video cameras there. Lucky for us, there were phones out there. Lucky for us, there's footage of what took place. So the lies can be countered with reality. But the fact that they scrambled to clear the crime scene, remove the vehicle, remove the body before any investigation could be done is very alarming. And that too will be investigated.
The videos on there, total chaos. And look, I have very limited work in this is the training in the National Guard, but I've had a lot of training now to watch how our professionals operate. After this person was shot, federal agents milling around, touching the vehicle at a crime scene and things. I don't know what to tell you, and I don't quite know how to respond to the question other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured, whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. I don't know at this time, and I want to be very careful. It's unprecedented that we have the federal government's already determined exactly what's happened here and the motives of an individual that we don't even know the name. They don't know the name. And that's very difficult.
Look, they didn't just touch the vehicle at the crime scene. They put it on a moving cart, on a tow truck, and they got it the hell out of there on a flatbed. There was no police tape even hastily put up. As the Nazi force was pepper spraying people in their hasty retreat, they took with them critical evidence in this case. By design. Anyway, look, I think that this is a fabulous example of leadership in a moment where we need it so desperately. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. I really want to hear from Minnesotans. I really want to hear from you if you're from Minneapolis, if you live in this neighborhood, if you are affected by this, if you'll be out there protesting today. What is the Whipple Federal Building on Federal Boulevard is where they're going to be, where I will be.
If you fly a flag in the Western Hemisphere, that flag might be soon the Stars and Stripes.
Donald Trump's megalomaniacal conquest is starting to take shape. We're starting to get an idea of what it's going to look like. It's not just going to be Venezuela. It is not going to be just Panama. It's not just going to be Cuba. It's not just going to be Greenland. Seems like a new country gets added to the list every single day. I talked about this the other day about all of the countries that he's now threatening. Remember the president of peace, the man who whined and cried that he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. And apparently he's so upset about having not gotten the Nobel Peace Prize that he's now waging war all over the world and attempting to start World War III. And it's so prevalent in the minds of the administration and these officials, these people who work for the dear leader, these fascist enablers or fascists themselves, that it's just on the tip of their tongue. Caroline Leavitt yesterday during the briefing said that Venezuela was a country within the United States, she said, and then caught herself, the Western Hemisphere, as though those are even close enough to have made that mistake. Watch this very brief, maybe 10 seconds.
Authorities in Venezuela right now, and the president has made it very clear that this is a country within the United States, the Western Hemisphere, close by the United States.
Which is interesting because every time the administration speaks, right-wing media, fascist media, Nazi-adjacent media, they love to start spinning those wheels, repeating those talking points. Will Cain, dipshit, I think he's an old ESPN anchor or something. He's now a conservative firebrand over at Fox News, nuzzling the genitalia of Donald Trump at every effort that he can make at it. Yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago, he made this weird statement on his show about all of these different countries in the Western Hemisphere that if you just keep watching, sooner or later, they're going to be flying the flag of the United States rather than their own.
Welcome back. Reestablishing American dominance in the Western Hemisphere. After what the Trump administration is calling a successful mission in Venezuela, the obvious question then becomes, who's next? And the answer, apparently, is a few places. Cuba, Colombia, Greenland. Basically, if you fly a flag in the Western Hemisphere, that flag might be soon the Stars and Stripes. First, Cuba.
If you fly a flag in the Western Hemisphere, that flag might soon be the Stars and Stripes. Might be soon the Stars and Stripes, he says, awkwardly. Well, here's a map of reality as it is right now. United States, we've got Canada, we got Hawaii, we got some other little colonies out there. We are, after all, colonizers of countries. Puerto Rico, we got the Virgin Islands, we've got Guam, we got some other areas out there. Some are too small to even be seen on the map. But this is it. This is the American flag that you should think of when you see a map like this. Donald Trump wants it to look like this. He wants it to be Venezuela, Canada and Mexico, Greenland, Colombia, Cuba, Panama, Nigeria, Iran, Syria, and now, just beginning today, or not today with Denmark, but Norway, he's attacking, which I'm going to talk about subsequent to this. This is what Donald Trump wants the map to look like. This is what Fox News is back in the play of. It is a ridiculous assertion to say that if you fly a flag in the Western Hemisphere, it's going to be the United States flag. Is the jockey for position under Donald Trump. Pete Hegseth is saying as much. He gets asked a question by CNN yesterday at the Capitol after briefing the most senior members of Congress. And he freaks out when he's asked about the cost of all of this. This is a gotcha. This is a gotcha. What are you asking me this for? This is a designed question, rather than just answering the question. Talking about the Western Hemisphere, acting as though we own the Western Hemisphere because we are in the Western Hemisphere. Watch the hissy fit of Pete Hegseth.
I want to emphasize that question from CNN. The question's never asked how much does it cost when they're in the Mediterranean or the Red Sea or the Indian Ocean or the Pacific. But now that they're in our hemisphere, on a counter-cartel mission or ensuring that an indicted individual comes to justice, now you're asking the question of cost. It's a disingenuous question to begin with. You're trying to find any angle possible to undermine the success of one of the most historic military missions the world has ever seen. The level of sophistication that Senate just was briefed on, and the House was briefed on, a classified level, is something only the United States of America can accomplish. The world is taking notice of that. Certainly Venezuela is taking notice of that. And it continues because two overnight, were seized by the United States of America.
First of all, Pete, not everything is an attack on the troops. Didn't that tactic die out a long time ago after 9/11, after Iraq and Afghanistan? That if you don't support the troops going into war, the terrorists win. It's so transparent. If you don't call the French fries freedom fries, the terrorists win. If you don't get down and gargle Donald Trump's ball bag, the terrorists win. You hate the troops if you don't do that, says Pete Hegseth, with lust in his eyes for Donald Trump's undercarriage. Can't wait to fit his ball bag full on into his cheeks like he's a fucking squirrel with a couple of nuts. Speaking of a squirrel with a couple of nuts, Mike Johnson's doing the same exact thing. Yesterday, when they did brief members of Congress, this elite group of 8 members, Marco Rubio made a joke about invading Greenland in his stand-up comedy routine while he's given an intelligence briefing as the national security advisor for Donald Trump, as well as the Secretary of State. And Mike Johnson was asked about this and was like, oh, y'all, come on now. He just joking. Come on, man. He said it with a smile. I think he was joking. As though that's the atmosphere for a joke. Watch Mike Johnson. He took a break from canoodling Donald Trump's nuts to say this.
Does that mean we're going to go send troops into Greenland and take it over? No. I mean, they only had, 40, 50,000 people there. This is not a thing, okay? Did Marco say something like that? I think he did. I mean, it was over a 2-hour meeting in the Gang of 8, and I think he did make a comment, but I think he did it with a smile. He was trying. I took that as a joke. He was trying to be humorous about it, okay?
And then when asked about the most important issue surrounding this is Donald Trump's wanting the oil for himself, he posted yesterday that he will be in charge of it. He will have the money. And now we're learning that all this money is going to be in offshore accounts. It's not going to be run through the United States Treasury. Tell me what kind of red flags that sets off for you. But here he's like, well, there's so many moving parts to this. I don't even know what to tell you. We're lucky he didn't say, I don't know anything about that. I haven't been keeping up with the news. This is what he did say, though.
Okay, yeah, well, last one, yeah.
The president, as you saw, said that he is going to get 50 million barrels of oil or something from Venezuela. Does the president have the authority to unilaterally seize oil from Venezuela and then use the money from the sale of that oil as he sees fit, as he said he's going to do?
I hear Congressman Jimenez over my shoulder, who's the world's expert on all this, saying that is sanctioned oil, okay? And I'm not going to get up here and tell you the details of all these developments because it's still being developed. There are a lot of ideas. There's some brainstorming being done out loud by all sorts of people, many of whom are not even authorized to have these conversations. I would not run with too many of these headlines right now, okay? I'm telling you that all of this is developing right now. I am very confident we have steady hands at the wheel, and then this will be figured out. So stay tuned. Thank you all.
For all of these people who act like we're not making the same mistake that we did in Iraq with no end game, he's like, this is all these moving parts. It's all in flux. It's all still being developed. This is why you have professionals go in with an end state in mind. You plan a conflict with a myriad. It should be like a choose your own adventure book where if this happens, you have these options. And if you choose this option and this happens, you have these options. It should be that complex. And he's like, we'll just leave it up to Donald Trump. He knows best. Daddy knows best. This is the new conquest for Donald Trump. This is the path to untold riches for Donald Trump personally and his cohort of ghouls and billionaires and Nazi enablers and Nazis themselves. This is it. This is the point set match. I don't listen to tennis. I don't know anything about tennis, but isn't that it? This is it. This is the game. This is the ball game for Donald Trump. He doesn't care about governance. He cares about power, self-aggrandizement, and riches. Vladimir Putin. He's our Vladimir Putin. J.D. Vance was dead set on him being America's Hitler. He might be that too. But he is certainly acting as though he is unfettered. There's nothing that can stop him. And the more wins he gets, the more bold he feels. Anyway, I welcome you to this conversation. I know it's a tough day. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. And he has the power to start wars because the Congress isn't stopping him. The Congress has abdicated their role. So speaking of Donald Trump's conquest, I just want to touch on this really quick. He posted this on January 7th at 9:45 a.m. in an apparent addition to the list of countries that he wants to conquer, Norway. And he gets everything, no surprise, you shouldn't be shocked by this, but he gets everything wrong. Every single thing he says in here other than President DJT is just wrong because he is mentally unwell. He is a mentally ill, demented, early onset. Listen, when you're already the worst person in the world, I mean, name somebody who's worse, alive right now. When you're the worst person, maybe RFK Jr., maybe. But I don't know if RFK Jr., yeah, he's certainly a sex pest too. Listen, when you're already the worst person in the world and then your brain starts to go and you get kind of sent back into your childhood essence of who you are, it's just a nightmare. And then when you have power, holy shit, it is just terrible. So we posted this on True Social. Remember, for all those big NATO fans, they were at 2% GDP and most weren't paying their bills until I came along. The USA was foolishly paying for them. I'm going to get to all of this, these idiot things that he's saying, correcting the record. It's so difficult to do it in real time because people, start clicking off. I respectfully got them to 5% GDP and they pay immediately. Everyone said that couldn't be done, but it could because beyond all else, they are all my friends, period. Yeah, they're your friends. Go. Right. They're your friends. Without my involvement, Russia would have all of Ukraine right now. Remember also, I single-handedly ended 8 wars. No, you did not. And Norway, a NATO member, foolishly chose not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize. But that doesn't matter, even though you just mentioned it. What does matter is that I saved millions of lives. Russia and China have zero fear of NATO without the United States, and I doubt NATO would be there for us if we really needed them. Everyone is lucky that I rebuilt our military in the first term and continue to do so. We will always be there for NATO, even if they won't be there for us. The only nation that China and Russia fear and respect is the DJT rebuilt USA, make America great again, President DJT. Well, first of all, NATO sent thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of troops to Afghanistan and Iraq after 9/11. They answered the call of the NATO charter and came to our aid. Norway specifically sent nearly 10,000 troops. Little Norway, the population of which is small compared to the 360 million here in America. So that's just fake, a lie, bullshit, of course, because it's coming out of the mouth of Donald Trump. The other thing is his childlike. Like somebody at this point has to have corrected him about how NATO works and the whole GDP thing, that we didn't have to pay for them because they weren't. How it works is there's an expectation for each NATO nation to spend a certain percentage of their GDP on defense. Some of them weren't paying the 4% or 4.5% or whatever it was. They were paying like 2.5%, 3% under whatever the mark was. We were in peacetime. It's fine. It's fine. Not every country needs to spend $1,000 billion per year on their bloated military, like us. Our military is funded so extravagantly that the next 8 countries combined, like we're number 1, number 2 through 9, they don't even equal what we spend put together. There's not a country on the earth who's ever spent $1 trillion on defense in peacetime. Not how it works, Donald. And then third, do we even have to say it? Norway does not award the Nobel Peace Prize, you fucking dipshit. The Nobel Society does, named after Alfred Nobel, the inventor of dynamite, who changed his image forever by starting a peace prize, lamenting what he had invented. It's not a Norwegian prize. That's like saying the Oscar is given to people from the United States of America. They blame Donald Trump because they didn't win an Oscar. Are you a fucking moron? I mean, of course, you're a fucking moron. The problem is that we have this wide percentage of Americans who believe every insidious, insane thing that just falls out of your fucking face. And he has the power to start wars because the Congress isn't stopping him. The Congress has abdicated their role. They don't care about the Constitution. They're wiping their asses with the Constitution collectively. Mike Johnson, chief ass wiper, because Donald Trump tells him to. He is a marionette for Donald Trump. I am ashamed of my country. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. It's supposed to be short. Didn't end up that short. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Please consider, if you have it within your financial means, if you could spare $2 a month, please think about helping support this work, helping me produce these videos on this show, YouTube and Facebook. $2 goes a long way. You can become a channel member right on YouTube. Click the join button below the video or click the join button on my channel. Or even better, it's way better, go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Again, $2 a month goes a long way and helps support this work in independent media. I'm passionate about what I do. I think I do a good job. I know I'm not everybody's flavor. I'm not everybody's style. But I would appreciate it if I bring you value. And that's it.
Many times you could buy it way cheaper by just going directly to a doctor or directly to a hospital, or directly to a surgery center, rather than going through the insurance product.
What do you look, I'm on one today. Obviously, Rick Scott did not gently mouth the genitals of Donald Trump on Fox News. But metaphorically, he sure did. He does the same thing that Pete Hegseth does. He does the same thing that Marco Rubio does. He does the same thing that Mike Johnson does with glee and lust in his eyes. Just backing the play of their despot dear leader. Agreeing with any mad thing that Donald Trump comes up with. Including on healthcare, including on his conquest to take over Venezuela and steal the oil of a country that desperately needs a win to come back on top out of the dictatorship they've been languishing under, suffering under, oppressed under. And we're going to steal their oil, leave them with nothing, and let them just, again, continue to languish in poverty and misery. Because that's the Trump way. And if you ask Rick Scott about it, he's on board. He's laying out the coordinates of what the conquest will be. It's going to be Venezuela. Then it's going to be Cuba. Then it's going to be blah, blah, blah. Watch Rick Scott. He took a break from, gargling the ball bag of Donald Trump. Here he is on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo.
So proud of what the president did, and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and everybody, our military, Maria Corina Machado, and what they did in Venezuela is going to change Latin America. This is the start of changing Venezuela. Then we're going to fix Cuba. Nicaragua will get fixed. Next year we'll get a new president in Colombia. We're going to start, the democracy is coming back to this hemisphere.
This is the start of changing Venezuela. Then we're going to fix, he means invade, Cuba. Nicaragua will get it fixed. invaded. Then we'll get a new president in Colombia, which is a democracy. How are we going to get a new president in Colombia, which is a country that has free and fair elections? It doesn't matter to them. They don't care. They obviously don't care about democracy. When Donald Trump tried to overturn ours, tried to end democracy in the United States with his incitement of an insurrection in an attempt to overturn a free and fair democratic settled American election that Joe Biden won by more than 7 million votes. Yeah. Democracy is coming back to the Western Hemisphere. That's the whole thing now. This hemisphere, this is ours. It's not our neighborhood, and we want to be good neighbors. It's ours. Your house, it's now my house. Fuck you. You don't like it? I'm bigger and stronger. I'm richer. That's the Trump. That's the Trump foreign policy. Domestic policy, even worse, especially on health care. After they allowed the Affordable Care Act subsidies to expire and people's health coverages, their premiums are doubling, tripling, quadrupling. And they say, well, we want to give the money to the people so they can negotiate with their doctor. Have these rich fucks ever gone to a doctor? Do they not know how it works going to a hospital? You have no position, no bargaining position. You don't get to say, oh yeah, I know I have colon cancer. Let's put it in terms that I can talk about. 3 years ago in October, I had surgery. Removed a third of my colon, took out a tumor, I had colon cancer. Don't have it anymore, healthy, everything's great. But I wasn't in a position to be like, well, wait. We're gonna wheel and deal here. Yeah, I know it's a life-saving thing and I need it or I'll be dead. But yeah, I've got a lot of leverage here. Who are these fucking morons? Do they think we believe it? Do they think MAGA believes it? Maybe MAGA is so stupid that they believe they'll be able to go into their doctor because Donald Trump said so and negotiate. And no, you're going to do it for this price. That's not how any of this works. Watch Rick Scott, someone who knows about healthcare. He knows so much about healthcare. He was the tip of the spear for maybe the largest Medicaid fraud case in the history of our country and skirted out by turning evidence against his company. He turned them all over and extricated himself, made millions and millions and millions of dollars while defrauding the same government he now claims to want to save money from. Watch Rick Scott.
Well, what do you think about that? I know that the president has been urging flexibility on funding limits for Obamacare plans covering abortion as well. Senator, you say more Affordable Care Act aims to put patients over big insurance. What is the GOP's plans in terms of health care?
Well, number one, we care about people getting health care. I grew up in public housing. I know the difficulty of getting health care. I watched my mom struggle to get my brother health care because she didn't have insurance and couldn't afford to pay for it. She finally found a charity hospital 4 hours away. So the way to do this is we got to let the patient-doctor relationship make these decisions. So if we're going to subsidize, which we should subsidize people that need health care that can't afford it, it ought to go in the form of a health savings account. Let them buy the insurance they want or direct health care. Many times you could buy it way cheaper by just going directly to a doctor or directly to a hospital, or directly to a surgery center, rather than going through the insurance product. Let them take the money we're going to give them, let them buy their own insurance. Let them buy across state lines, let them participate in buy the insurance they want instead of what federal government wants to tell them they have to buy or some big insurance company wants to tell them. And we got to tell them what things cost. The providers have to tell people what things are going to cost. So the president's on the right track. I've got a bill to do this. Chairman Pfluger in the House has the companion bill. I'm very hopeful that we can get this done this year.
Now, I don't believe he believes that. I don't believe Rick Scott is a stupid man because he's a wily fraudster. He's smart. He's a con man. He's a liar. He's a crook. He's a worshiper of Donald Trump, to be sure, but he's not stupid. Many times you can buy it way cheaper by just going directly to a doctor or a hospital or a surgery center rather than going through the insurance product. What are you fucking talking about? I would call him a thumb with a face painted on it, but it's more like a pinky because he's such like a giraffe neck freak. What someone explain to me what he's talking about, because look, I would love to be able to go to a doctor and find it cheaper by just going to the doctor. I've been going to doctors my whole life and I've never been able to do this. Apparently it's a new plan that's just going to be, we're going to unveil it in 2 weeks, like all their other plans. These people are sick and twisted. They don't care about the poor. In fact, they care about extracting as much wealth from the middle class, from the working class, from the working poor in this country, so they can become fabulously wealthy. If this kind of shit, if this kind of rhetoric doesn't radicalize you, I'm not talking about turning you into a Luigi, the guy who took a shot and killed that healthcare executive. I'm not talking about that. But if this doesn't radicalize you to action, to organize, to convince your family and your neighbors and your acquaintances to start voting the right way, to sit up straight, get your shit together, send Rick Scott packing. This dipshit was almost the majority leader of the United States Senate. What's that tell you about the health of our current Republican Party? Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to talk about this in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line if you see fit, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Be genuine. Take care of one another.